So, hello everyone. This is a members only. Hiya, Andy. Nice to see you. It's a members only meeting for backtesting, chat, and review of the week, specifically for Harmonic Scanner and Pitchforks. I'm going to make Brian co-host because he's very kindly agreed to help us. He's always very helpful and he's very good technically. So he's got more scans than I've got, and he's going to go through a couple of his scans. So let's just start sharing screen. I'm hoping Les is going to come on. He was waiting for his wife to get back because he's busy babysitting. I think there was something on today. So if he comes on, then I wanted Les to go through Euro NZD, which he did 40 pips on, and it was a live one that we did on, I think it was Wednesday, and I didn't do so well on that, so I'm really keen to understand what Les did on that one. So if I just wanted to come over to GBP JPY, I haven't actually been in this trade. I was actually doing it as a Facebook Live. Now, we're not meant to always show setups and live trading to non-members, and I very rarely do it, but I wanted to show people how you know, just talking in simple language, how you find the confirmation. So here, and so things like, you know, it's Friday afternoon. We don't often do live trading on a Friday afternoon. GBP is a London pair. JPY is a Asian session pair. But I just showed them that I'd drawn up the trend line, that the pitchfork was there, you know, the orange line there, the 62. So that would have been the entry. It followed the 1 minute trend down. After 10 pips, you put that 1 pip stop profit in for a risk-free trade, and then you have to make your decision, like Brian was saying the other day. You know, if I was trading today, I haven't done any trading today, and your daily goal is 25 pips, it's simply a question of following the rules and the strategy of your chosen strategy that you're following. Then 20 pips would have been my trade goal, and 25 pips would have been the daily goal. So if I had been in that trade, and it's Friday afternoon, and also I would have seen it wicking out at that level. I told people to watch that level when I did this recording, but actually at that 25 pips, it's turned, and we know GBP is a fast pair as well. We usually only take it if it's a perfect setup. So it could be coming right back up. It's that could be the hourly fake out, and it might carry on dropping down. So I bear in mind all those things I've said when I decide how I'm going to get out of a trade. So I could have got out at the 20 pips. I could have decided it stalled out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, and I'm out there because I could see it starting to turn. Or to be in a different time of day, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then or I was in London session, then I may have decided I'm going to try and see if I can swing it down to this level here, which is, because price will always want to move between levels, that 132.000, which is that pitchfork there. So yes, there are confirmations and rules, but there's also an application of judgment and a time of day when you trade, and the speed of the pairs, and obviously whether there's news. So you need to put that fine tuning in, because, you know, although this didn't take long for it to run down to the 25 pips, it's a shame that you end up, after having put your work in, if you're going to be making serious money out of trading and want to become a professional trader, a full-time trader in particular, that it comes right back out up and stop. Say I had been in it, you know, stop me out at 1 pip when I could have had 25 pips. So there is an element of not being greedy. You know, it did move down fast. It is a fast pair. So you could say to yourself, well, all right, it hasn't stretched to the next level, but, you know, fast money, take the money. I'm going to take my 20 pips, 1 to 2, my trade goal, or I'm going to take my 25, and that's my daily goal hit. I know it's then frustrating if it then does this after the hourly fake out, that it comes all the way down and you've missed out on another 25 pips. But as Brian said as well, you know, you can't be unhappy about that. You do have to think about what your rule book says. And if the rule book says 20 pips is my trade goal, 25 pips is my daily goal, and I've done my daily goal, you cannot be unhappy that you didn't make that extra 20 pips down to the 45 pip level. And that's why working off levels and knowing how you're going to get out of a trade and why is so important whenever you enter a trade. So that's what I wanted to share on that one. I'm going to pass over to Brian now because he's got some new scans. So let me see. I think, how do I do that? Do I just stop sharing? Yes, and then your co-host. So I think, is that okay, Brian? Can I just hand over to you to go through a few things and I can make some notes? Thank you.
All right, does everybody see my web browser over here?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Alrighty, so there was, if anybody's been keeping up with me, at least this week on the Harmonic Scanner, we've been working overtime. We all need to chip in to put a budget in for a virtual assistant because there's been, I think, I don't know, maybe 20, 22 new scans this week. I found 4 this morning, so we'll just quickly go over them for anybody who hasn't checked or seen them. There's this one that's new, is for Euro AUD. Hold on a second. Wait. There we go. I got to move that so I can see my pairs. Alrighty, so go back to my watch list. There's a new one for Great British Pound USD. There you are. This one is ginormous. The X point on this one goes all the way back to like the 27th of May. So that's a 5-minute. Scan. So there's also GJ's got a new scan this morning. It's this one down the bottom here. I've posted all of these in our group at the moment, so you can go take a look, or they're all currently on the Harmonic Scanner. You can go find them and draw them for yourselves. And EN has a new scan this morning. So these are all relatively new scans here. So, I mean, I don't typically trade on a Friday, so I haven't looked at any of these for trade opportunities, but we could certainly go around and take a look at one. Let's go back to the Great British Pound USD one. It's a nice, beefy, big one. And I've also been playing around and testing some new indicators in order to make life easier for people who have the free version of TradingView so that they won't require a paid version to use this strategy if they don't want to. So I will turn those on, and I found a different quarter theories indicator that sort of fixes the problem when we're back testing. I am testing that one for best parameters and whatnot. So don't ask. You can see what it is. If you can find it, go ahead. But until I make an announcement further or that I'm satisfied that it works perfectly, because this is one of the issues here, is it kind of glitches with these vertical lines. But as the other problem is it works when current price goes off the screen. So for trade opportunities on this one, there doesn't appear to be anything because we're just basically shortly after the D point. It hasn't made it up too far. So you got 62 EMA. Oh, this is a huge scan here. But we're in the buy direction at this moment here initially for this scan here. So there's really no opportunity off for a quarter theory scan on that one. So we shall move on to EA. Yeah, so we got no pitchfork touches at the moment on this one since this is a relatively new scan and it's not a big enough for a quarter theory trade. So there's nothing cooking on this new scan as of yet. This is also what's quadruple witching Friday in the markets, which is the expiry date for a bunch of futures, stock options, and stocks in general, and a couple other things. So the markets are probably not going to be particularly busy, or that's why they've been kind of weird this week per se. So a lot of people are going to be profit taking today, and also a lot of people are probably also not trading today. So just to be aware that this phenomenon happens 4 times a year. It happens at it's the third Friday of the month for end of quarter. So in March, June, September, and December for the end of year. So you may want to pay attention. Darren Ned Kelly put a post of that in the main Facebook Ninja group yesterday. So at the moment, there's nothing worth talking about here on EA, other than unless I showed the scan. So we will move on to GJ. Oh. That's funky.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on that one?
Is that your new quarter theory line doing that?
Yeah, that's the new one doing that. I don't know what's up with that. That's the first time I've seen that in the little bit that I was playing with it. I'll turn on the other one. So, oh, we might have had a sell opportunity right over here. So you got a pitchfork below the 62 MA, and then you got a trend line.
Yeah. Is that big enough for a sell on a buy scan at that point?
Actually, this one hasn't made it up to the median, so it's a little soon to call it for a buy or for a sell.
What's
So
how many pips is it in a pitchfork leg on that one?
Let's find it.
Not over 60 then?
I don't think so. It's like 27, so it's a regular size scan. So there's no quarter theory trade here per se. So depending on how strict you want to follow the standard rule book of only trading in the direction of the scan until it hits the middle line of the pitchfork. This one might have worked. I didn't measure it. I just happened to see it because it hit pitchfork below the 62 MA and a trend line.
Yeah.
So this is why for this particular strategy, you got to keep up with your charts, but you got to give them, a little time to play out. So you got some better trade opportunities that present themselves over time. So that's pretty much all I can say about this scan at this particular moment. And this is the last new one we'll quickly take a look at.
In fact, interestingly, I've got the previous scan and I was taking that sell off that previous scan. Well, I mean, I wasn't in it, but as an example to show people on Facebook.
Right.
So I was actually looking at that one down that last 25 pips.
Right. Yeah, that's the one you just showed when you started.
That's the one I just showed. Yeah.
But yeah, so the previous pitchfork probably supported it actually.
It must have done. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone through it with them.
Yeah, so I fade my old pitchfork, so I don't see it any hovering in the background. So it must be off of this scan somewhere. So we'll go take a look at EN, and this one's got so this is a buy scan at the moment. At first glance here, there doesn't really appear to have been a trade opportunity, or there's one potentially going if this kind of chugs up to the pitchfork here because it's above the 62 EMA and it's trending upwards, but we don't have our mandatory pitchfork touch and retest yet. So
what's the pip gap between where it's retested the pitchfork?
You mean this little spike right here?
No, at the bottom, the little wick. How many pips gap is that between the wick and the line?
Oh, this red candle down here?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's find out. It's tiny, I'm guessing. It's like 1.5 pips maybe?
Yeah, we consider that a touch, and that is one of the best entries that you can get Obviously, you've got to have the other confirmations, but the break and the retest off the D point. So even though it's 1.7 pips, if it's like up to 2.5, in a $6.6 trillion a day market, we consider that a touch. So they've got a lovely break and a retest off the D pitchfork, which is one of the best ones to look for, one of the best ones to have.
Right, but at that entry, the trend, the most recent trend is downward. So there was really nothing to indicate a buy at that point.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to play around with the fibs, which I haven't really done a whole lot on.
No, I agree with you. I would wait until it was at the better level. But in case people were thinking that doesn't look like a touch, it is a touch. It is a retest. Right.
Yeah, so I might wait here for like 10 minutes or so to see what it's going to do at this pitchfork level, which looks like it's about to interact with here.
Yeah, because it's a very fast pair.
Yeah, this is I think an 8 or a 9 on the speedy scale according to Chance.
This is his favorite. He likes
this one is a 10. This one ranks up with all the Great British Pound pairs.
Yeah. He said this is the pair he gets greedy on. He likes this pair a lot.
Okay, so that's pretty much the current state of affairs with the most recent 4 scans. Anybody have any questions on that so far? So feel free to speak up.
What to do to catch up. Hello, Helen. Yeah.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Brian.
Hi. Yeah, has anyone been in any pairs or trades this week they want to have a chat about? Or anything on entries or exits or anything?
I was just looking at marking up that GBP USD scan, but mine's coming out slightly differently to yours, I think.
Is that an FX one you've got there, Brian?
Yeah, I think I got this one off of FX Choice on the 1 hour.
Okay, my Traders Way one does go back to the 27th of May, but it looks like it's just come in because it hasn't got any.
Yeah, I'm finding lately I much prefer FX Choice over Traders Way for getting harmonic scans.
Oh, really?
The scan's only got 2 out. It's only got 2 candles after the D point, so it looks much newer than the one you had.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I've been drawing bunches this week, and I'm finding or the ones on FX Choice either come in faster, or they're about the same. But I find that they sometimes draw better than the ones off of Traders Way.
Okay. When you say draw better.
Well, sometimes if you look on the M30 scans on Traders Way, the D point will be off. You know, it'll be on a half-hour candle, but the picture shows it's the next candle over.
Yeah.
FX Choice doesn't seems to draw it more accurately, at least from the picture standpoint.
I'll have a look at them more consistently then. Thank you.
No problem.
Does everyone on here know how to draw a scan on, or would like us to go over how to actually draw a scan? Or do you want to look at some trades that were taken this week? Past markups on the entries and things like that? Or don't you mind?
I'd love to see some trades.
Some trades, okay.
That's up to what everyone else fancies.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Brian, do you want to go through anything?
The only one is the one I'm going to submit. It was my one and done trade for this week.
Oh, do you want to go through that? Because Brian's pretty cool when he gets onto something.
Yeah, let me.
And then I can go through some. I'm hoping Les might come on and go through that EN trade, but it depends on when his wife came back home. Because he got 40 pips on that.
Where is it? I keep a separate little text file of my trading view scans that I'm going to submit in for Chance's back testing call. And it was an ACAD trade. And that's what I found. And this one basically smacked this one out of the park.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is. Oh.
So this one also pays off for keeping up with your scans, because this one happened shortly within like an hour of when I drew the scan for ACAD when it first came out. So, you know, you got your 1 minute trend, you got your 62 MA below it, and it's right off the pitchfork. So I got in right there, and ACAD is about a 3 on the moving scale. I decided to, you know, be a little brave on this one. I'm going to put in a 5-pip stop loss, and I just basically followed it all down. Now, here's where my charts are starting to look like Sarah's. I have an old pitchfork right here in the
Brilliant.
background, and it just happened to wick off right there by a pip or two. And at that particular point, you know, I exited at the pitchfork. I hit a trade goal, a daily goal, and my weekly goal. So I said,
Ah,
we're
it's
done.
fabulous, fabulous. So where's your quarter theory?
It's right here, the orange lines.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I see it. So that's interesting because you've got quarter theory sat at about what, 25, 30 pips, is it? Or a bit less?
Yeah, it's right here. It's 9805 or something. That's pretty much where I got out down here. And quarter theory down here, I didn't measure it. As soon as I saw this pitchfork and I was already up, I said, we're done. I didn't even think to go to quarter theory.
Yeah, and how many pips is the next quarter theory up from the entry?
Okay, this is a graphic, so
it must be about 500. So that's
yeah. So
20
we're at 9,870. So it's like 30 pips.
30 pips. So that's very, very good because you've got that brick wall sat there. Normally price will stall out at that level. Although
Well, the way I figured it is from my
out in the
stop
next-
loss, ACAD was kind of slow. I'm right at the pitchfork. I got my trend line and the 62 EMA. I decided to roll the dice.
Yeah, no, I think it's brilliant. Can't see anything wrong with that whatsoever. You've got your 3 confirmations. You've got the break and you've got the pitchfork touch. You've got the break and the retest of the pitchfork, and you've got the 62, the orange ones crossed under the blue, and you've got the 1 minute trend line.
That's typically that's the most common entry I have found. I don't know if that's the case for everybody, but it seems to be the trade setup I find the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was it. And then the other ones that I'm going to send in is the one from Connor from the other day with the ECAD and the 618 fib.
Yeah.
I drew that one up, and then I found the one you pointed out on GCAD in the London session with the really nice swing on it.
Yeah.
I did a screenshot of that one, and I was just going to send it in as a textbook example of a swing trade.
Yeah, no, that's really, really good.
So this was the one trade I found this week. Other than that, I spend most of my time keeping up with my charts and back testing.
Yeah, that looks excellent, Brian. Has anyone else got any questions for Brian on this one? So I presume you got in on that first red sell candle.
Yeah, I got in right here on this red candle.
Yeah, so it's important to get in on the candle in the direction of the trade you want to take, and wait for that retest, wait for price to come back to you, wait for the market to show its hand, wait for the trade to come to you. The mistake I've made a lot in the past, thinking, oh, it's going to run away with me, and getting in on the way down and then having to suffer it.
I'm on the Brian and Ann Baby Boomer Power Hour calls because they're at a convenient time for me in my time zone. And the famous line that Brian Knight likes to say is, we get paid to be patient.
Yeah.
let the market come to us.
Yeah, that's a nice phrase, isn't it? Very good. Okay.
So that was it on that one.
Yeah. Let's have a look then. Do you want to go through anything else, or do you want me to take over?
Yeah, well, that's pretty much everything I got. Unless anybody has any more questions about what I've talked about here. Otherwise, I'm sure you've got another half hour or more worth of stuff to talk about.
No, that's fine. So thank you for that. That was very helpful.
You're welcome.
So this is interesting. Back to this GJ one. So Brian's got the new scan. I haven't. So I'm playing off this old one, and your scans are still valid as long as you check the pitchfork touches. I've just gone back on the half-hour time frame just to show you where it is. So this one was a D point last week on the 16th of June, This is on the 30-minute chart, so it may not look as perfectly touching, but you can see all these wonderful touches. Very true, you know, the pitchforks working out perfectly. And also to quarter theory, the touches there, the rejection there. And here it is on my scan at the moment, still coming down. So if we come back to the 1 minute, the thing you have to work out when you're in a trade is how much you're prepared to risk in order to swing the trade. So if we're trying to swing a trade, and I'm not always good at doing this, I haven't got the patience to go on the 5 minute, but it's better to go on the 5 minute if you're looking at swinging a trade, rather than stay right on every tiny little minuscule amount on the 5 minute, on the 1 minute. So if we look on the 5 minute chart, actually I will come back to the 1 minute to talk about how many pips are you prepared to give up if you're trying to swing a trade to the next level. Because you can see we made the 20 to 25 pips here, but if you had wanted to try and swing it down to this next level, then you would have had to have given up 23, nearly 24 pips, and it went above the 62. And we know it's a fast pair, but it went almost up. That probably would have still kept me in the trade. And this is what Chance talks about a trade having room to breathe. Now that's only 2.2 pips off it. So if we had been swinging this trade down behind the 62, it would have taken us out roundabout here anyway, as it came back up above. So you've either got to keep it right up here, and even then it might have taken you out depending on your broker's spread and commission, or at least above quarter theory. And sometimes I find that's a hard judgment call to make, because personally, once I'd done that and got back up here, I would have been pretty gutted myself. You know, I'm not sure I always have the emotional stability to let it swing back almost all the way back up before it starts to drop again. But then I suppose that's the price you're paying in a metaphorical sense for trading these fast pairs, because the faster the pair, usually the bigger the swing, bigger the pullbacks you're going to get. I suppose the other thing you could do is put your hull on to see what that is telling you, because one of our exit rules is 2 flips on the hull and we're out the trade. So here is the 1 minute trend. The background is the 15-minute trend. So you can see that really all the way through this trade, it was still saying the trend was up. So that might have got you a bit rattled, even though on the 1 minute, one small flip up, that wouldn't bother us, carries on down in that downward 1 minute trend. That's fine. Here's one big swing up. So I'm going, uh-oh, but I'm still not out the trade. So that's okay, because our exit strategy says 2 long flips on the hull. You're not bothered about these tiny little ones here, but there's one long flip. And then fortunately for us, it turns red. So if you are looking at the hull as it turns back on you, thinking, do I get out of the trade or not? That might, even though it's green, the fact that it's your first flip back and then it turns to red here, you can breathe a bit more easily and know the 1 minute trend, because it is a lagging indicator. So it's going to take, it's about 30% lagging. It's going to take a while for the 15-minute band to kick in. So I guess that just comes with experience, really, because personally speaking, particularly if I had been trading on a Friday, which I wasn't, I would have been myself probably out the trade here. And even if I was trading this in the week, I'm not sure I would have stayed in this one. I don't think I probably would. I'm trying to get better at swinging trades down. Sometimes I can do it. I tried very hard this week and didn't manage, so well, but I'm sure it's just practice. As Brian and Chance have said, we are generally getting really good at our entries. So the entry on this one, like on Brian's, was you've got a little, that's a blue buy candle with a wick. There's your first green sell candle rejecting off the pitchfork and the 62. So your entry is here, good entry there, and then down the 25 pips, and that only took about 25 minutes or something. But here it is working its way down, and you can still see the downward momentum on the 62 EMA. So that's the GJ.
Another point Chance has made this past week too is we're getting good with our entries, but now we're debating about over stop profit, not stop loss, stop profit.
Yes, good point. Yeah, which again is a wonderful progress to be making, because once you have got your trade risk free, that is an enormous sort of sigh of relief, isn't it? To know, okay, then at very worst, I can chalk this up to like a kind of a sludgy break even, but I haven't handed money back to the market.
Right. And as the cliche saying goes, is you're never going to go broke making profit.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, and it's progress, isn't it? It's good progress. So that's GJ. EN is the one I was hoping Les would come on, but he's busy. So we'll probably do a separate Zoom call. So I've got, sorry, it's just a bit slow on the Zoom here. I've got Pitchfork in pink, and that's just loading up, very slow to load. Not moving. Oh, I had this before earlier on, and I had to come out and then go back in. Sorry. So GJ, I don't want that one. EN. Okay. So this was the trade, and this is what we want Les to go through with us, which is the Wyckoff, the banker's strategy, where you see this big bowl shape, because the bankers they've come down this side, it stalls out for quite a while, and they want to come back up this side because they're picking up money from people's stop losses as people have piled in down here and left their stop losses up here. Then the bankers come down here, and then they come back up, scooping up the stop loss money they've left because they've driven it down. They're selling in order to buy and buying in order to sell. And then there's been a great spike there in the middle of the night, which must be some
Les pegged that one quite well, because there's your upside down Bart Simpson head right there in that bowl.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? So so it's a really good strategy when the two come together. So I left it marked up because I don't ever do banker's strategy. I just stay down the rabbit hole with this one since I found it. But Les has spent many, many hours understanding the banker's strategy. So what we're working on is combining the two, because it's incredibly powerful. It gives you much more confidence to swing trade when you combine the Bart Simpson head with our rabbit hole 1 minute system. So I'll just bring up that Pitchfork there, just so you can see it more clearly. And I'll just fade out the pink one. We don't need that one. There we are. So, and as usual, we haven't got quarter theory working, but you can see it's at 73, it must be 73,900, I would think. Is that right? This one here. That must be quarter theory. Would that be right, Brian? 1.73900. Zeros and fives. Does that sound right? I'll just put...
Your mic's not on, Brian.
oh,
It's no, you're in the wrong spot. It's either 1.7400 or 1.7350 in that area.
so is it...
A little higher. Yeah, right around there.
yeah, thank you. So we had quarter theory up here. We've had our break and retest of the, this was actually the correct entry, but when we were on for the session, New York session, so we came on where the yellow met the blue. So it had broken and retested quarter theory. It was under the 62. We had the 1 minute trend, and we had the break and the retest of the pitchfork, the green line. So we had everything telling us that we could get into this trade. Now, Euro NZD, as we know, is a 10 out of 10, as Brian's just said, very fast pair. And it took us out here. So if we'd got in fact, I could put the replay on, couldn't I? That's probably a better way to do it. So just this is end of London. Play the button. So end of London coming up. Price plays between the pitchfork and the quarter theory. It's caught in a, sorry, our trend line. It's in the trend line. It comes down to the pitchfork. Now, as New York opens, it breaks below the pitchfork. It comes down here below the 62. We're past the hourly candle. So to me, that's an entry there. So let me just see how many pips that broke there on the hour. 8.4. Now normally we like a 10, somewhere around here. So this there, it's wicked off there as well, and it's rejected quarter theory again. So all those rejections on quarter theory. So I thought that was the entry. And then what happens? Half an hour later, it comes back above the pitchfork, the 62, the 1 minute trend and quarter theory. Tries to make another attempt to go down and can't. It's coming up now to the hourly candle. If you're in the UK, that'd be 2 p.m. at the end of our New York session. And obviously it took us out of the trade because that would have been, we would have had a, let's put another one on, 15 pip stop loss from there. So that just takes us out of the trade by the I'm pretty sure that would have taken us out, yes, because of brokers, spread and commission anyway.
That initial downswing was probably more than 10 pips, so you probably moved your stop profit to +1.
Well, there's that as well, isn't there? But for whatever reason, you know, I got stopped out, but it didn't stop me from wanting to re-enter, because I know Chance has been through that so many times about don't be scared to re-enter. So after the hour, it then obviously comes back into the 1 minute trend. You might have adjusted that or you might not. The 62 is now crossed down as well. And it's, you know, it's carrying on. So you're getting a good entry at, let's say, so I wouldn't have got back in until it had come back down here. And I think Les said he got 40 pips and he only had, Brown gave us his trading view chart. He only had 1 pip stop loss, which is why I wanted to hear Les at some point go through where his specific entry was and how he got that 1 pip stop loss.
It's probably the next one over on the pitchfork on the downswing.
Right, this is my pitchfork here. This is my trend line. Oh, let me put the trend line in white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the pitchfork, this green one. So the second entry, here's the pitchfork. So one candle down, but it's just very little volume, doesn't really do anything, but you might have thought to yourself that you would get in round about here. So again, it goes up, but this time you wouldn't have been taken out because it rejects off quarter theory and it's following the 62 and it's now rejecting off the pitchfork. So let's see what happens. So again, we're still in the trade. We'd still be in the trade even if we got in there. I think this is one of the things about this system. You do have to be precise because that's only 3 pips. So you do have to look at your broker's spread and commission as well. Because if you're in slightly further down, again, and I've just realized I've drawn that slider bar the wrong way around, I'm sorry. It's not good. Just get the settings. There. So there's, so if you're thinking you've already had the break and retest, it's taken you out, but it comes down again under the 62, rejects off quarter theory. So it then comes down again below the pitchfork. So I would have thought to myself, because it's wicked off the pitchfork and it's after the hour, so I probably would have got in again there.
Hey, Sarah, I just looked up Les's chart on the Discord raining pips. He got in at about 15:35.
In UK time?
UK time.
Thank you, that's brilliant. So let's put a vertical line. So that would be 16:35 my time. Oh, that's really great. So
it's over there somewhere.
It's there. That's 16:35, so 15:35 UK time. So let's see what happens there. So the question is, why didn't Les get in on any of these? Because you've got all that breaks under the pitchfork, under the 62, the rejections off quarter theory, or not on an hourly candle. Maybe he was just waiting for stronger downward momentum. Or maybe he knew something from the banker's strategy, from the wick-off thing. Ah, okay, because it's up again. It goes up again. That would have taken us out again. So Les knows something we don't on this one, I reckon.
He gets in about there.
Yes. Yes. And I can't work out how he knew to do that on this one, instead of getting back in along here. So it's something to do with the I don't know. I can't work.
Well, it could be something
out.
simple as to when he came back to look at the charts again for another entry, and that's just what presented itself.
Well, it could be. Unless he looked at the trend line like this, unless he'd redrawn the trend line. If we go on the 5 minute.
That's a really good trend on 5 minute there.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the 1 minute.
I mean, that's like 4 solid touches right there.
Yeah. Ah, so maybe, so you're out the trade here, possibly out the trade here. You've got a good 5 minute. Normally we draw our trends on the 1 minute though, don't we?
Usually.
Okay, but I think either way, say he'd done that trend line, that would have helped you, would it? Would it have helped you?
Well, you're below the trend, below the 62 MA, and you got a pitchfork touch. There's an entry right there.
Yes, but why would you have not got in over here?
Well, you would have, but why he chose that specific spot, only he knows, and we're only speculating at the moment, unless there's additional information that.
Yeah, because he got in, he said, with a one pip stop loss. So he's right down.
Yeah, he's like right there.
He's right there, which is just so fantastic. There. So he's just got that stop loss where the trend line is, the pitchfork, and he's below the 62. And then what happens is it makes its drop. So there's your perfect entry, this one. Just on that green candle, the first sell candle, wicking off below the pitchfork, below the 62, obviously quarter theories above, and it's not on an hourly candle or anything like that. It's just after the half-hour candle. Maybe he looked at a half-hour candle close. I'd sometimes look at that. And then he's just got a lovely drop right off the cliff. And that went down. There's his 40 to 50 pips down there. So
he probably got out at quarter theory there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have given him
or the pitchfork.
Pitchfork gave him the 40.
There's your 40 right there.
Yeah. So absolutely beautiful trade. But not for those of us that didn't get in where Les got in. And then it's comes up, retests the 62. I wonder if there was a stack in on this as well. I can't remember now.
I bet you if we showed this segment to Chance or whatever, he would say, "Oh, there's an entry here. There's an entry here."
I know. Yeah.
And then he would likely say, "Well, that's just one of those market things, right?"
Yeah, and it's a fast pair. I don't know, does he ever get in a third time? I do sometimes get in a third time, but quite rarely.
Well, chances usually he has his turnoff percentage at 6%. So if he loses 3, he's done for the day.
So later on in New York, it's just chilling out along the 62. So time of day, we'll just take it up to where we are at the moment. Off quarter theory along the 62, late New York, doing nothing, doing its own thing, up to the pitchfork. Of course, got a new pitchfork now. Upward trend. Now, Les also said to me he knew it would go upwards because I said I chickened out. I said I didn't get in when it started to go up. And he said, yeah, he didn't either. So tests the 15-minute, breaks through quarter theory up here. I could turn that one off now. Just get rid of that. And it's in a price trap here between quarter theory and the pitchfork. So late New York, along the 62, it's coming to market close. But this is market close, dead zone. Probably won't do very much, although NZD is a Tokyo session pair. Coming into Tokyo when it turns green on the box above. That must have been some news there. For that, that's about a 50 pip drop, isn't it? And at the moment it's so here you can see it didn't really cross, it's carried on and it's crossed here in its upward momentum. And there's the outer edge of this older pitchfork, but as we say, Brian's found the new one. Sorry about this, it's glitching on Trading View, does that. Switch that off and see if it, no. So you see Tokyo normally only has about a 20 pip range, but this is a fast pair, so there's a few spikes there up to the outer edge of the pitchfork. And coming into opening early London, you often get fake outs, so you can bag some pips. sets you up nicely for the day. Into the outer extensions, still along the 62, not very doing much, chilling out, doing its own thing, playing between the 62 and the blue 15-minute. Tokyo, not doing very much. We're coming into London, so as soon as London opens, you've got the euro. Here's London open, decides to carry on being pushed up, then decides it doesn't like that at all. That's at 8:45 UK, 9:45, 8:45, 8:45 UK time. And I don't know what the new pitchfork's going to say because Brian's done that. I haven't done that one yet. And there's the orange crossing the blue, giving us confirmation for a sell. And doesn't like it, so it doesn't carry on doing anything more. I think that is that's a trend line. I'll take that off. That's confusing us. Good screen as well. Above the 62, it's in the outer edges, remember, of this old scan. The orange does now cross above, can't make it, it fails. And New York coming down. This is today now, isn't it? Is this today? Am I still a day behind? So it stayed up in this outer edge of this scan for quite a long time, really doing nothing very much. And you don't want to be stuck in trades when it's looking like this. Very, you see how small the candles are? Just chilling, no volume in them at all. I wonder if I can go on the 5-minute, speed it up a bit. Oh, that's the end now, is it? No. Oh, it's today. So coming in today, Tokyo session last night. It's crossed above for the buy. This must be making the new scan, I think. In London, so that's the New York reversal. So here we are, current price. So it's dropped. Put quarter theory back on. There's quarter theory. And I've only got an old pitchfork because it's outside the pitchforks till I draw the new one. I can see an old pitchfork sitting behind there. So that's Euro NZD. Let's look at some of the other faster pairs. I did have them marked up today, but as I say, I wasn't trading today. Oh, is that being slow to load? Come on. Low chart layout one. Is it just slow?
Perhaps this is a good point to call it a day here. It's been almost an hour.
Oh, yes, sorry, I hadn't noticed the time. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, sorry, computer's slow anyway. So I hope that was helpful. We've been through GJ trade actually taking place at the moment, and Brian's new scans, and then entries and exits using backtesting that very good trade on Euro NZD. So has anyone got any other questions for today? I hope that was helpful. Hello, Julie. Anything else?
I have one question.
Yeah, far away.
Yeah, you sometimes refer to the 30-minute candle.
The 30-minute one?
Yeah, what's the significance of that?
Well, depending on when I'm getting into a trade, I'll look at the close of the 30-minute candle because, say, for example, it's showing that I was in thinking of getting into the sell and it had wicked off quarter theory, so I could see a long wick above it. That would give me more confidence to know that was like an extra confirmation for the sell. But say it crossed halfway above quarter theory, it was looking pretty solid. I might think, oh, I don't know if it is still dropping at this point. So I like to look at hourly candle close, and because as Chance always says to us, the wicks tell the story. So if you're in a sell and you can see things, candles that's at the 15-minute, the 30-minute, and the hourly wicking off a strategic line level, then that gives you confirmation it can't break through. It's got no volume in the wick,
Oh,
you
right.
know, so it's going to fade. So I use it like that.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Okay, everyone. Well, I hope you've had a good week. We'll see you all next week. I've got obviously lots of charts to catch up with Brian now this weekend.
Sarah.
The
Yeah.
harmonic scanner. It's not my fault. It's
No.
the harmonic scanner.
Have to blame somebody, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been busy this week. Okay, guys. We'll see you all next week. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. All right,
Yeah,
bye.
thanks. Bye. Bye.
Bye.